So glad you're joining us to make some lemon blossoms. I have not made these in, I would say, years. Definitely a long time. I don't make a lot of sweets actually, but Ronnie, my husband, is not a fan of lemon cake or lemon pudding or lemon pie. Anything lemon, he's not really that fond of. He will eat occasionally, fond of. However, he loves the lemon blossoms. And Kelton loves them, I guess, because this morning, when I made a batch earlier today, and he grabbed one, and then he came back and got another one, and said he'd forgotten how good they were, and I had to get him to stop because I'm actually making them to take to church tonight because we eat after church on Sunday night. But actually, I've made one batch, and I'll be showing you in a minute how they look that I made earlier when they get through. But I'm making another batch because I have something else, a play date this week for our homeschool group, and I'm going to be taking some more. Okay, so what you'll need for the little lemon blossoms, when you use the mini muffin pans, it says, the recipe says that it would make around 5 dozen. This morning I made 4.5 dozen. That's because I put a little, maybe too much. You're supposed to fill the pans about halfway, but it's still the same amount of batter. So, but anyway, you use one package of yellow cake mix. It really said 18.5 ounce. This is only about 15, but you know how they change, how they make the amount in things, and when you use a recipe, then it kind of messes you up. But it worked out fine this morning. So you would mix one thing of it, one thing of the instant. Make sure it says instant, and it really said, let's see, yeah, 3.4 ounce of the pudding mix. Make sure it's lemon, and you mix a pack of it in with the cake mix. So we'll get that in there. And we will put a glaze on these too. So while they're cooking, they only have to cook for 12 minutes. And I'm only going to cook one batch to show you or not just one batch. I'm only going to cook one pan just to show you. So you would mix that, and you mix, make sure I've got it right here, 3/4 cups of oil, which I've already measured to save time, and 4 large eggs. So you use an electric mixer and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and put 4 eggs. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And a good idea would be to break your eggs into something first to make sure they're okay instead of into your pan, but I didn't do that this time. Okay, so I don't know why I have a spoon in here, because I'm actually going to be using the mixer. And then we're going to have this oil. That's our 3/4 cups of oil. Vegetable oil. I used this right here. You can use whatever kind you prefer. I'll also be using some in the icing. So it said to beat it about 2 minutes. I think it'll work better if I plug it up. So we're going to try that. Try plugging it up. Alright, so we're going to have to beat it for about 2 minutes here. I'm going to start out slow so that it won't splatter it everywhere. So it's really simple to make. It don't really take all that long to make it. It is a little bit of a messy job when it gets to the glaze. But there's always a sink and some water. Wash your hands when you get through. Okay, so here we go for about 2 minutes. I'm just beating this batter good. You want it to be mixed good. So Kelton grilled some good ribs last night. Even if he did get it ready at 10 o'clock for Steve's supper. But
smoked
ribs, by the way.
That's why I cooked
He
it.
fixed some good homemade macaroni and cheese. Ronnie does not like macaroni and cheese. He's not a cheese lover. He will now eat grilled cheese sometime and a little bit of cheese, but he's not wild about that. But he also fixed some great corn on the cob that was very tasty and very good. And he fixed a strawberry cheesecake. So we had a really good meal last night that he fixed. And so I think about 1 more minute, this will be ready. you just want to get it mixed up good. Use an electric mixer. You wouldn't want to try to do this with just a little whisk brush, beater. Alright, this should about do it. Let me see if I can get this off without slinging stuff everywhere. If you have a child or even a grown-up, they might like, or even somebody like Kelton that's 18, he might like making those beaters. Now, so we have this ready, and I've already sprayed this. So you spray your pans, mini muffins, now the mini. You spray them with, said vegetable oil spray, but what I had on hand actually had the flour in it too, but it worked out all right this morning. Let me grab a spoon, see if I've got one over here. I've taken those out, so I think that I'll have to look over here. So you grab a spoon. Okay, so I don't know if you need a teaspoon or a tablespoon. I used a tablespoon this morning. I'm going to use this teaspoon now, but it doesn't matter because you're going to fill them about half full. So, and it's kind of thick batter, so you'll have to take another spoon in your hand and make sure your hands are clean, of course, but you will need to.
Or you could do it the simpler way and just put it inside a Ziploc bag.
Yes, Kelton has this great idea that I should put it in a Ziploc bag and try to squeeze it on in. No, that was the icing you was talking about.
Yeah, you could do both of it.
But I don't care to do that.
That's how
if you
I
care
do
to do it, you can. But when I get through with these, I'm going to put them in the oven. And like I said, they'll bake for 12 minutes. And I hope the oven will do good because I had a pan of dressing in it right before this, and the dressing was cooking at a higher temperature because I'm also taking dressing to eat after church tonight. And I'm also taking some lemon blossoms and dressing to our play date this week. So I made I halved the dressing, made a huge big old pan, and I halved it, and I haven't cooked the other half. I'm gonna leave it in the refrigerator or freezer and cook it over the next day or two when we get ready to go. Couple of days, and that will be the way we do that. But these are really good, and when you get through, you need to let them cool. It's set up to let them cool about an hour, and then you can put them in Ziploc bags. What I like to do, because especially I had to do that this morning because we were about to leave for church, and I did not have time to sit around and wait an hour. So I like to just stick them like on the pan that I put them on. I like to just stick them in the freezer, and I don't have to stick them long. And then when they get kind of cold and the glaze gets settled or whatever you call it, I'm trying to think of the word, but anyway, then I take them out and put them in the Ziploc bags. And as long as you keep them covered like that, you can still eat on them for a few days. Now, if they get uncovered and let air get to them, they start drying out. But as long as you don't let the air get to them, they're good. They're really good fresh in the next day or two. And I hope I've got the correct recipe from the original one that I had. There's probably different ways to make this because I have seen some other recipes. But I actually got this recipe from one of our relatives. And she passed away earlier this year, Pam. And she used to always bring these to the family reunion. We always look forward to them. And that's where I got this recipe. And I'm going to put them in there for 12 minutes now. And then I'm going to let you see how we ice them. All right, now we're going to, you're supposed to ice them while they're still warm. So we're going to mix the icing up while that's cooking right quick. And that way, I'll show you how we dip them in the icing, and then I'll get off and finish them. That way you can see. But as far as the Ziploc bag and how they look, I don't think I put as much icing or glaze on these as I have some. But they are very, very good. I'm handling them, but my hands are clean anyway. But I was trying to find some I might have put a little more icing or glaze on. Not like I said. I tell you what though, these are very good, Kelton, right here. These are very good even if you eat them before you put the glaze, they're very good, especially when they're warm. And I'll eat probably lemon more so than Ronnie, but it's not like I'm a lemon lover, and I too. In fact, most people, I haven't done them, like I said, in probably several years, but most people have really liked them. So for this, you're going to use 4 cups of powdered sugar, or confectioner sugar it's called. I call it powdered sugar. You can buy it in a box or a bag. So you use 4 cups and you sift it. So I've already sifted 4 cups into here to save us a little time. And you use a spoon for this. So we don't need a mixer. And we use 1/3 cup, let me make sure that's correct. Yes, 1/3 cup of lemon juice. So here's the lemon juice. You can get whatever kind you want to get, but I used 1/3 cup and I already have it measured. Now, it says optional, and usually even when something is optional, I tend to put it, so I'm pretty sure years ago I put it, but I did not this time. But it also says that in addition to the 1/3 cup of lemon juice, that you could use 1 lemon zested. So you could zest and put it in here in addition.
You know what that means?
Yes, I do know what that means, but I didn't put the zest in here. Okay. Now, and then the other thing we're going to put is 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil and 3 tablespoons of water. So I'm going to dip the 3 tablespoons of water. Here's 1, 2, 3, and then you do 3 tablespoons of oil, and that's all there is to it. And we're going to mix this up and be ready to dip those while they're warm. You're putting it over here. All right, there's 1, 2, and 3 of those. Now, it said to use wax paper on some racks to put them on, and I did this morning, but this time I just used wax paper, and I used some flat pans. I did not use the racks. Right here, please. All right, so we're going to just stir this and see how that looks like a big old bowl of this, but when you sift it, it goes down and it's not near as big, so I didn't have to have near as big a bowl as you might think. But we'll have this right ready, so when those come out of the oven, while they're warm, we will start dipping them, and you try to let it you get it all over it as much as you can. I tend to try to not get it on the very bottom, maybe. I think, put it on the bottom, but they stick more. I try to just put it on the top and sides, and you let it kind of drain off. So we're going to stir this up, like I said, real good, and have it ready. And we like about 8 minutes being ready to start dipping them in here, or to get them out and start dipping them. So I'm going to put this counter to the side. I'm going to throw my boxes away in just a minute. Except this one has a little bit more in it. Now, I think that was about it there. But anyway, for the batter, you'll just use the box of the yellow cake mix, a box of the instant lemon pudding mix, 1/3 cup of oil, and 4 large eggs. For the icing, or the glaze rather, you will use 4 cups of this sifted, the confectioner sugar, 3 tablespoons of the, well, let's see, no, not 3, 1/3 cup of the lemon juice, 3 tablespoons of water, and 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, and you can use the zest of a lemon, 1 lemon, if you choose to. Again, spray your mini muffin pans, and then when you get through, we're going to dip them in this. See there? That's good. Kelton likes licking this bowl. Well, while that's cooking for just a minute, I just like to say, let me wash my hands while that's cooking.
That's what you want to say?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say to him. Yeah, while that's cooking, I'm going to wash my hands. That's what I'm going to do. But I couldn't talk Kelton into, I couldn't talk Kelton into singing for you like you did last time when I was making the dumplings. And I told him I was not too good of an entertainer, but what I wanted to say while waiting is that some of you have reached out privately to me to pray about certain things and some things going on in your life, in your family. And I just want you to know that when you do, that I do take it seriously, take it to heart, and I do pray about it. And I have someone, I've had someone that reaches out to me all along because they have some ongoing issues and pain, and they reach out to me quite often and asking me to pray. And I just want you to know that I do pray every time you ask me, and even in between when you're not always asking me, for example, or I'm saying always, in between the times that you're asking. And I had someone else recently that reached out about a family member, and I was thinking the diagnosis may not look good, but we know that God is a healer, and we know that faith moves God and moves mountains. And so I'm praying with that person, and we're believing for a miracle there. And there was someone else recently too. I forgot who that was. I'm not calling names, but my point is, I don't want you to think that I take it lightly when you reach out. And I'm nobody special. You can pray the same prayer of faith, that me or anyone else. If you serve God, He's your healer, He's your Savior too. But I just did want you to know that I was taking that serious. And we have about maybe 5 more minutes, so I'm going to share something with you, speaking of healing. And I've shared this before. It's been a good while on Facebook. In fact, it's one of the earlier things I shared when I joined Facebook about 4 years ago. But our oldest daughter, as a matter of fact, this last month, our oldest grandson, or our first grandson, turned 13. And so our oldest daughter had our first grandson. And when she was in the hospital, we was up there at Montgomery's family was in the waiting room. Is it messed up? We was all sitting around. Her pastor was there, her mother-in-law, and her siblings, and we were there, the parents. And they sent word back. I believe it was her husband came and told us that she was going to have a cesarean. And of course, it just broke my heart, me being her mama. I know, many people have cesareans. It's a fairly common thing, but it still major surgery, and it still broke my heart. And I went in the room to see her after I heard about that. And as I walked in the room, I saw tears in her eyes. And I walked over to her and I said, "You know what?" I said, "I know this is not what you had planned, and I know you wasn't expecting it, but we're going to pray, because prayer changes things." And she said, "I know it." And it just broke my heart. And I walked out I went back to the waiting room, and we had prayer in there. But I wanted to get by myself and get along with God. So I walked out in the hall, and I just started kind of going up and down the hall. And I was just praying to myself, and had a little corner there I kind of stepped over into. And I was just praying, but it kind of hit me all of a sudden that I was just crying and praying and begging God. But I really wasn't believing and praying in faith at all. I simply was just crying out to God in agony for her, and praying and begging Him. And I said, I know God sees our tears, and I know He sees our burdens. But what He really honors is faith. And I'll be honest, I was not praying in faith at all. And it kind of hit me, and I thought, if I really want this to happen, I've got to pray in faith, and I've got to actually believe it. Not just crying and praying and begging God, but I've got to believe it. And I turned and looked over at the wall across from me, and up and down the hall, the wall across from me there in the hall was several signs, and one of them said something to the effect that faith is daring to believe what the eyes cannot see. And buddy, it's like it just welled up inside of me and confirmed what I was feeling, and I began to pray again, and I prayed in faith, and other people were praying, and this is not to brag on me, but this is to brag on God. And I went on back in the waiting room, and in a little while, we'd gotten word that the doctor was going to come in, and she was, going to have a cesarean if she had not had it, whatever. But in a little while, maybe 2 or 3 that afternoon, I can't remember how much longer, if it was an hour or two. But anyway, they sent word back and said, "You know what? The doctor said he believed that she was going to be able to have the baby after all, and was not going to have a cesarean." And here was this little old bitty woman, even though it was my child, she was grown, but she was petite. And here she was, and had this 10-pound something, 9-pound or 10-pound, I forgot which now. It was One or the other. It was either 9 pounds and something or close to 10-pound baby without sincere. So don't tell me that prayer don't change things, because it does. And so I do take your prayer requests seriously, and continue to reach out as you feel like it. And I'm going to check and see if, let me see what time I put the, trying to think what time I put it in, because it takes 12 minutes. And I said, oh yeah, we got about 1 minute. 1 minute. And I'm going to show you how we do these, and then I'm going to get off because we got to finish them up and get ready and get on to church. If you don't have a church to go to, come be with us if you live close by. And also, if you've not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, we're 96 people away from having enough subscribers to do a cash drawing. So be sure and tell your friends. And I do have to go get me a stove pad to get this out.
Hey, there's some right here. Drawer.
No, I don't think so unless you... Okay. Here's some. Okay.
You're welcome.
Let me see if they're ready. Okay. Maybe just a tad. Maybe 1 more minute. Maybe just 1 more minute, I think. And we would get them out. And let's see. I would try to put them on something. Let me grab maybe some paper towels and just put them out over here. Also, I'm going to get a little case knife. I may have some in here, but I'm going to get a case knife and kind of just go around the edge to get them out.
That's a butter knife.
It's, I think is it called a case knife also, or is that something different? Or is that what you have, a case knife?
That's got actual case.
Maybe those are case knives, and maybe this is a butter knife. It can be any kind of knife you want it to be, really.
Case is actually a brand. A really good brand.
Technically, it could be.
No, it is a brand.
No, I mean, it don't have to be. There's other meanings, though.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to leave the oven on because we got to cook some more of them. And I should have already had them in the thing ready to go in the oven, actually, but I didn't, so that was my bad, but we do need to get them in there. I should have been doing that, I guess. All right, if you want to bring it over here, because I'm going to have to turn this. You might go around and do it from that side. I would normally probably wait a little bit, but I don't need to wait so you can see them, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of dump them out. And if you've greased it good, it should come right on out. And like I said, while they're warm, the glaze will stick with them better. It's okay. I probably would have let these stay just a little longer, but I'm kind of in a hurry. Not only for the video, but like I said, I've got to get these all cooked and get to church. And ooh-wee. Like I said, I would probably get them just another minute or so. That one I messed up, but
really?
Mm-hmm.
So now you're getting to your hurry.
I know, I'm getting in a hurry now and making a mess. But I tell you what, they will be eaten. That's for sure. And if you don't have enough of pans, you would have to redo. There's the dressing, and I didn't get it brown enough because I had to get it out. So I'm going to brown it some more at church, but taking that too. And we're going to dip these.
I will let them.
And actually, let's put these right here right quick, and then I'm going to dip those. Let's get these in the oven real quick. And then I would dip them. It's okay. The only difference, if you don't do enough, it'll just make them a little flatter, not as big. And if you cook too much, they're going to be a little bigger than they should, but they're going to still be eaten, I promise you. So like I said, let me get this batch in. These bigger pans make 2 dozen. So if I do 2 of them, and then I do half of my other pan, I should give me one that's just 1 dozen to do. But like I said, this morning it actually made 4.5 anyway. I just put too much in that one too. Help me. Trying to get this. As soon as I put these in there where they can cook while I'm doing the icing, and I know it's Sunday afternoon, and you may not can hang on with me this long. And if you're watching it even on a replay later, if you will, let me know in the comments if you've eaten lemon blossoms, if you've ever made any, if you've ever eaten any, and what you think about them. And your recipe might even be different than mine if you've ever eaten any. I don't know. But these sure are good. They sure are good. And there we go. All right, so I'm going to put these in at 406. Remind me. So 18. All right, now I'll just move this up here to keep from moving these down there. And all right, so what we do, let me grab my pan to put them on. And I'm just going to do a few of them to show you how it's done and get off of here and let you start making you some if you want to. But you just take them with your hands. It's a little messy, but it works. And you dip them in it like this. Turn them over, and you just kind of let them drain, just fall off of it like that. And you put them right there on that paper. That one's going to fall apart. You try to do them while they're still kind of warm. Turn them over and get them over it. I kind of try to wipe it a little bit off the bottom so it won't stick so bad. But when they settle, like I said, I like to put them in the freezer and let them do it, but it says to let them sit out for about an hour. So see how easy? It's not really hard, it's just a little messy here, but they're so good. And I'm going to get off now, and I hope you have a blessed afternoon, and we might be doing some more cooking later in the week, so y'all check back in with me. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.